Uh, don't let me go far.
This this my pastor seems to have enough experience with the dentist. Hallelujah. Please, can you give me a round of applause? Okay, so he said you should avoid cold things, hot, hot food substances, and um, avoid gums, chewing gum. Okay, that's partially correct. Because why I said it's partially correct is that taking cold things or hot food substances will not necessarily have effect on your teeth if there is no issue. If there are no issues with those teeth. Do you understand? Something must have happened to those teeth before your intake of cold food, hot food will lead to, it mentions something, dentinal sensitivity. Let me just break it down. It's just these shocking feelings you have when you take cold things. This shocking feeling when you take cold things or when you take hot things. Or sometimes when you take some acidic fruits, oranges, lemon, that shocking sensations, that what is referred to as dentinal sensitivities. Do you understand? Now, what must have happened? Brother, please move backward. What? Move backward. Backward. Okay, let me just follow this. Okay, so, yeah. So this is the tooth. I said the tripartite tooth. You have the enamel, which is the first layer. Then the second layer, you have the dentine. This, can we all see it? Can we all see it? We can't see it. We can't see it. We can't see it clearly. Oh, okay. But you can see the structure of the tooth. Okay? So where I'm pointing, sorry, I don't have a pointer. This is the enamel. This is the first layer. Now, this second layer, this yellowish part, is the dentine. That is second layer. And the third layer is this reddish part. That's the pulp. P-U-L-P, pulp. Now, the first layer is not sensitive at all. So if there's a problem with that first layer, you would not even know anything. Now, the second layer, which is the dentine, is sensitive. Why? Because there's a connection between that dentine and the pulp. Now, the pulp is the third layer. That's where you have blood vessels and nerves that supplies the teeth. Brother, can you feel my hand? Can you feel my hand? Why was he able to feel my hand? Because he has nerves running through his body. Do you understand? So, the same way, the tooth is a living thing. It has blood vessels and nerves. So, if there is a communication between the mouth, the mouth and the pulp, the tooth will react. The tooth will feel it. Do we understand? Are we getting it? If there is a communication between the mouth, and when I mean the mouth, the food you eat, the fluids, anything you eat, if there is a communication between the mouth and the pulp, because of the blood vessels and nerves that are there, the tooth will react. And that's why we feel pain. That's why we feel shocking sensations sometimes. When we take some things. Now, if this first layer, next slide please. Next slide. Next slide. No, you skip some. Go backward. Go backward. Go backward. Okay, next slide. Next slide, there's a particular. Next slide. Okay. So, you can see this dark spot on this first diagram, this dark spot. If there is an insult from the first layer, which is the enamel, insult, I mean there is There's a hole there. There is a cavity. I'm sure some of us have holes on our teeth. Yes or yes? Yes. If there is a hole on the first layer, you would not even feel it. Some might not even know. You will not feel it because it's not sensitive. There are no blood vessels there. There are no nerves and all that. Now, if nothing is done to that tooth at this stage, then the hole becomes to increase in size, it widens, and it gets to the second layer. Like I said, the second layer is slightly sensitive because it has some communication with the third layer. So once the hole get to the second layer, you start to feel some shocking sensations. When you take cold drinks, extremes of temperature, hot food, or knives and all that. Do you understand? Now, what I'm saying, it might not necessarily be whole. It can be a kind of wear and tear on the surface of the teeth. Now, once the hole proceeds from there and it gets to the third layer, which is this red part, the pulp, like I said the other side, then by 3 a.m., you are already in the dental clinic because it will not allow you to sleep. That's when it disturbs your sleep. The pain just wakes you up from sleep. The pain comes anytime, whether you are eating or not. Spontaneously, it just comes. Do you understand? But then, many people come to the clinic when it's already in the third layer. Because that is when it does not disturb, it starts to disturb them. It will prevent them from start go and spend, give the doctor money but I tell you, the best time to see a dentist is when it's still in the first layer. When it's still in the first layer. If you come when it's in the first layer, very simple. Just more money, we just cover it up and you'll be fine. If you come when it's in the third layer, I can tell you can take your whole salary. I don't know how much you collect, but the treatment can take your whole salary. The treatment can run from 70, 150, 200, 350, 500,000. If you want to treat it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay. Media, can you take 2 slides backward? Okay. Diet. You have your questions so that because of time, I will take all the questions together. Diet. Now, the things we eat are very important. Some of us, we love sugary things. Yes, I understand because of the nature of our job. Sometimes we tend to snack on junks and all that. But please, try as much as possible to minimize those things. You eat chocolate, you take sweets, you won't take it. Taking chocolate and you sleep off. And in the morning, some of us will not brush. You want to spend spend it. Start me. That's what I spend it. Please, let's take note of the kind of diets we eat. You are a fan of Coke, Fanta all the time. I take it once in a while. I take it. But it should not be all the time because these things contains sugar. These things contain sugar. And if these things are left in your mouth, the remnant of these things, your chocolates, your biscuits, any sugary things that you take, and you don't brush them off, over time, there will be formation of hole on your teeth. Mind my words, over time. Do we understand? Over time. But for some of us that know the mechanisms, we can afford to play with sugar. We know what to do after that. We are fine. We are cool. Hallelujah. But for you, please, when you take some of these things, try as much as possible to clear them off your mouth as soon as possible. Next slide. Okay. Can you appreciate the difference between the left side and the right side? Can you appreciate the difference? What is the difference? Off white and white. I love that one. Now, this is to tell you that the color of the tooth of the teeth is not white. You hear what I said? The color of your tooth, if not white, practical. Check your neighbor's tooth or your teeth. Check, fast. Check. Check your neighbor's teeth. These people on this side, you are not. Are you sure your people are following me? Check your neighbor's teeth. Is it white? Is it white? Is it white? We know what white is now. Is it white? Are we sure? No, some people have white teeth. So some people have white teeth like this sister's shirt or because Simi's shirt. Is it white? No, now, sincerely, I need a response. Eh? 1 year, okay. I'm coming to that. Is it white? I need a response. Off white, okay. Now, the color of a normal human being's teeth is not pure white. If you've ever seen any white teeth, please refer that person to the clinic, to the dental clinic. Yes. The color of the human teeth is not pure white. It is off-white, like you said. Brownish white, yellowish white. You can have different variations of that spectrum. Do we understand? But it's not pure white. Why? The first layer that I mentioned the other time, enamel, is white. That one is not pure white, it's off-white. But the second layer, which is the dentin, is yellowish in color. Now, because of the fact that that second layer is yellowish, the color reflects. The color reflects on the outer layer. Do you understand? So, if you see a tooth that is pure white, there's a problem with that tooth. Yes. There's a problem with that tooth. It's either the person has taken so much of fluoride containing water in the parts. Anyway, let me leave that. But take this. The color of the tooth is not pure white. It is yellowish white, brownish white. You can have different variations of that spectrum. Do we understand? So stop disturbing yourself. I want to bleach my teeth. Sister, I want to bleach my teeth. So sister, because you want to get married, they will come, please, my teeth is not white. I want it to be sparkling white. You are deceiving yourself. You are calling for wahala. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So please, there's no pressure. The color of your tooth or your teeth is okay. Yeah? It is what? Let me preach to your neighbor. The color of your teeth is. Tell that person. The color of your teeth is. Okay. All right, next slide. Okay. Why are the people in this category? Raise up your hand. Don't be shy. I love this. Okay. Bottles Opener Association. Because there's no opener, you now use your teeth. Especially they now take it to the canine. To the side. You know it's not like this. They take it to the side. They now, Okay. One day, my God will catch you. Yes, one day, my God will catch you. And what will happen? You see what happens? What can happen to it? You see this line? The tooth will it will split. Yes, it's going to split. And when it does split, of course, for some of us that might not be fortunate enough, the splitting will cut across that third layer where we have the blood vessels and nerves. I love that part. That pain will enter your head. I feel beat on maybe beans with stone. This one is worse. Once you cut across that third layer, you will feel it in your bag. Hallelujah. So please, it's bad habits. It's bad habits. Do not, don't do this. It's very easy, but that very easy can cost you 200,000, 300,000. You understand? Next slide. Okay. Some of us like this too. Strong Bone Eaters Association. You are not satisfied until you finish. You grind the bone to powder, to sand. I'm not saying bone is not good. It's good. But take the softer ones. Do you understand? Chew the softer ones. You alone will carry the head of Malu and I want to crack it. So the same thing that happens in the previous, you can have this too. You can split your tooth and there might not be any remedy for that tooth again. Next slide. Okay. So this is just to show that I'm sure there are no smokers here. There are no smokers here. There are some things that can cause stains on your teeth. For smokers, the fumes and all that, you can have these dark deposits on your teeth. Do you understand? They cause stains on your teeth. And again, the commonest one that cause stains when you don't brush regularly. You see, those food remnants keeps on accumulating. And you have it just at the neck. Let me use that word. At the neck of the teeth. All around. Can be yellowish, can be brownish. I can bet my 1 month salary on this. Almost every one of us here, we have something like that here. If you are not a regular, no, not even that. If you are not a regular customer of a dentist, almost everybody, it might not be up to this. It might not be up to this. This is what I'm referring to. Some of these things here. And some of these things. It might not be up to this. In fact, we see cases that we call it calculus. Those things will have covered the old teeth and you'll be wondering, where is the teeth in this? It can be that bad, yes. It can be that bad. You see all this malam? All this malam. Oh Jesus. Oh Jesus. When you see them, you don't want to be a dentist. You don't want to be a dentist. Hallelujah. Next slide, please. Okay. Which do you prefer? The first, the left, or the right one? Number 2. Why? Okay, now. Don't look at the way the person is brushing. Look at the energy the person is using in brushing. The energy. Some of us, I don't know, you brush every day. You are brushing your teeth as though you are brushing gutter. It's not every day you brush. Some brush twice daily. And it's not that you are eating sand. Are you eating sand? It's food you are eating now. You don't have to apply so much. Some people will brush it and from the third bedroom, you'll be hearing the voice of their No now. And some people like, when you are not on the mountain. So please, you don't have to apply so much force in brushing your teeth. Gentle force. Like our sisters, just go gently. But brothers, efficiency. Normal. You are doing well. Next slide. Hey. I love this one. See, wait now. Please, previous slide. Take it back to previous. Fine. How many times are we supposed to brush our teeth in a day? Twice. In the morning and last thing before we go to bed. However, there are ongoing researches that is saying that even if you brush once daily and you are sure it is effective, possibly you might not brush twice in a day. Mind my words. And it is effective. But then, we still say brush twice a day. In the morning and last thing in the night before you go to bed. Once you brush, you are not expected to go back and take chocolate, sweet, and say, sweet yìí ló máa jẹ́ kí n sùn. Ó wá jẹ, ó wá lọ sùn bẹ́ẹ̀. No. The last thing before you go to bed, the only thing you are permitted to take after brushing in the night is what? Water. Is water. Now, the essence of brushing twice, especially last thing at night, is to clear all the food remnants in your mouth so that your mouth will be fresh going to bed. And this is important because the mouth is microbiologists. Are we here? The mouth is full of microorganisms. You have it. In fact, it's good for your body. It's good for the mouth. We call it normal flora. It's good. Normal flora. So, it has been designed by God that those microorganisms will be there. But then, if you have this accumulation of remnant of food in your mouth, they can begin to feed on some of these remnants and release some toxic substances that now begin to break down the teeth over time. So, to prevent that, we advise clear your mouth, brush before you go to bed. Do you understand? Now, on the kind of toothbrush we should use, who knows what is the texture of toothbrush a normal person should use? Emphasis on a normal person. He said, emphasis on a normal person. Emphasis on a normal person. Admin, I beg you. I have 5 minutes. It's media. I'm not the one. It's media. Emphasis on a normal person. We have 3 textures of toothbrush. You have the soft, medium, hard. Which one? Wait now. We'll go again. We'll go again. The louder one will be the correct answer. So, you shout it, whether your own is soft, whether your own is medium, whether your own is hard. You shout it. A normal person should use which type of toothbrush? Again, wait. A normal person should use which type of toothbrush? For the last time, a normal person should use which type of toothbrush? Okay. There are 2 responses that are close, medium and hard. See, okay, for soft, you want to give me time? We will do extension today, don't worry. For the soft one, does she have teeth in her mouth? Okay. For the soft one, is for babies, But for normal people like us, it is medium textured toothbrush. Medium textured toothbrush. You see, for the abnormal people like the smokers, yes. Is it extra you are using? Okay. Nice play. The texture of toothbrush we should use actually is the medium textured toothbrush. If you use the hard, and really the reason why people use the hard textured toothbrush is that they feel it will do the work better. You know now, as in let everything be clean. However, we are causing damage to your teeth and to your gum. Medium texture toothbrush is just fine as much as you apply the necessary force, efficient enough in doing the job, and you know the proper technique of brushing. Hallelujah. Next slide, the hard texture toothbrushes. Previous slide. Now, I put these pictures there not to spoil market for these people, but most of these toothbrushes, they are hard texture toothbrush. Angola, Wisdom, Diplomat, Angola medium Diplomat. There are some other ones, but these ones are notorious. So please, if you are here and you are using any of these, when you get home, throw it into the WC. How much is toothbrush? 150, 200, 250. Abi? And go and look for the medium texture toothbrush. Usually it's written on it. Usually it's written on this. Although sometimes because of marketing strategy, they might mix up some of these things. But you know how soft the baby's toothbrush should be, right? Do we know? We don't know. We don't know how soft is. Probably I should have brought samples. Know how a soft toothbrush should be. And we know the texture of these toothbrushes. So the ones that are in between, they are not that soft as babies and they are not this hard. Yeah? I don't want to advertise for some companies. That's why I don't want to mention names of some possibly companies that produce medium textured toothbrush. But go to the market and search. Okay, next slide. Now, for those of us that use hard texture toothbrush, over time, at the neck, the junction between your tooth and your gum, because of the fact that the toothbrush is hard, and again, people in that category also apply so much force in brushing, you see the gum receding, just like you have in this. You can see the level of where you have the junction here. Can we see? Can we see this too? And obviously we can see this. The gum is supposed to be somewhere here, just like we have this. But because of the hardness of a toothbrush, it has receded the gum. And you have all this. What are the consequences of this? You have all these plaque and calculus, all these remnant food substances piling up there. Piling up there. As they keep piling up, they begin to separate the gum from the supporting structure of the tooth. They begin to separate the tooth rather from the supporting structure of the tooth. The tooth from the surrounding bone. The more they separate, the more food particles get in there. And before you know it, you start feeling pain, the tooth starts shaking, and of course, you eventually lose that tooth. Hallelujah. Another thing that can happen is you can have this depression at the neck. I'm sure some of us also might have this in our mouth. This depression at the neck of the tooth is a form of, it's like we are using iron sponge to scrub the back of the pot. That wear and tear effect. Do we understand? That wear and tear effect. It keeps on chipping off part of the tooth. And that's why when you take cold drink, you feel that sensitivity, because the part of the teeth that should not be exposed, which is the dentin, like I said, the dentin is sensitive, a little bit sensitive. And when that part is exposed, when you take some of these things, you have shocking sensations and all that. Now, when this depression continues, it can be so bad that it gets to the pulp, where you have the blood vessels and nerves, and things that can follow. Next slide. Okay. How many months are we supposed to use our toothbrush? 3 months. Yes, 3 months. Because of our time, we'll have to move faster. 3 months. However, if you buy a toothbrush today and by tomorrow you notice this, can we all see that? You can see that some bristles are going to the north, south, west, east. It's an indication for you to change that toothbrush. So what am I saying? You don't have to wait until 3 months if you notice this on your toothbrush. Again, this is common for people that apply so much force in brushing. Because by the time you use all your energy, in no time your toothbrush will become like this. So please, generally we say 3 months change your toothbrush. But then if your toothbrush has become this, even in one day, 150, go to market, buy another one. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because if you use this kind of toothbrush to brush, the effectiveness of your brush will be reduced. It won't brush well. And that's why we are prone to applying so much brush and so much force in brushing. Next slide. Okay. Our toothpaste. Well, I can understand some of us are Dangote's daughter, Otedola, and all that. We can afford to buy a toothbrush per day. A toothpaste per day. Do you understand? And so we tend to waste money Now, from one end of the toothbrush to the other end, you apply your toothpaste. You are wasting your money. And that's why when you spit into the basin, you see most of all the OT law is you are wasting. The quantity you need to brush your tooth is peanut size. Peanut epa, something like that. Peanut size, yes, it's okay for you to brush your tooth. Something like this. Not this. Not that. Are we okay? Are we okay? Peanut size, granite size is okay for you to brush your teeth. You don't have to stretch it. And some of us, we are here. I don't know. It's popular among children. Some can apply it as butter. They just cut the pen, apply some toothpaste, and no, while I'll continue. My sisters with babies, please ensure that your children don't swallow toothpaste. And that's why much more for them, reduce the quantity. Reduce the quantity. Because for them, too much of toothpaste in their system. Too much of toothpaste in their system can cause damage to their teeth. Yes. At this their age, they still have baby teeth in their mouth. However, the permanent ones that will replace those baby teeth are already forming, even at this age. So, if they are exposed to too much of toothpaste, there is a quantity in toothpaste called fluoride. If they are exposed to too much of this, it causes discoloration in their teeth. So let's be aware of that. Next slide. Next slide. Media. Oh. Okay. Toothpicking Association. Toothpicking Association. Yes. There are sometimes we eat meat, we eat fish, and some of them stuck in between our teeth. And in fact, there's this joy we derive. There's this comfort. You just continue for the next 5 minutes. There's this soothing effect it has. But then you are causing damage to your gum. Because that thing you are applying to your teeth, of course, it's in between the gum and the teeth. You push it there, And that's why sometimes you notice blood comes out. You are damaging your gum gradually. You are trying to separate your gum from the tooth. And when the space is there, when the when the space is there, you see the food particles. I was sure why are people laughing? Okay, next slide. All right. I didn't say that one. No, it's not me. It's not in my slide though. Okay, so instead of the toothpick, what should we use? This. We call it dental flux. Now, before I talk about this, some of us don't use toothpick, but we use broom. We use office pin. We use all kind of things. We are doing the same thing. We are still toothpicking as long as it's sharp and it's entering your gum. So it's still the same thing you are doing. So instead of your toothpick, please use this dental flux. Dental flux. There are two types. We have the thread type. As you can see in the picture, we have the thread type. So you just wrap it onto. You can get it anywhere. It's available in any supermarket. Most supermarkets have dental flux. So for the thread type, just wrap it around 2 fingers and the thread, take it in between your teeth and apply it against the teeth. You can see that. You shall understand. Do you understand? Now, there's a second part that's second type rather, that has, okay? So you can see that in between 2 fingers, then like this, then you apply it in between your teeth, then you pull whatever thing is out there. And for the posterior teeth, you can do this. Next slide. There this other, are we familiar with this? Yes, this is also another type. This has an handle. So the same way, now the part to use is the thread part, not this pointed end. If you use this pointed end, like chronic user of toothpick. If you use this pointed end, it's as good as you using toothpick. Do you understand? So the part to use, if I don't know why the manufacturer said put that pointed end there, it's disturbing. So the part to use is not the pointed end, is the thread part. So the same way you apply it in between and you get the job done. Next slide. Okay, this is just to show people that have holes on their teeth. I've explained this before now. If you have food remnants in your mouth, over time they decay and the hole starts forming. First layer, second layer, like that, if nothing is done to it. If you don't have this kind of thing in your mouth, raise up your hand. If you don't have this kind of picture, your tooth does not have any hole. There's no hole on your tooth, on your teeth. Anyway, next slide. Okay. Can we identify anything in this picture? I'm sure you must have seen this kind of thing. Such that you have just a tooth or 2 teeth. Usually, it's commoner in the front upper teeth. It's just dark, compared to other teeth. What has happened to that tooth or teeth is that there must have been a time that person had a fall or trauma, somebody punch him or hits the face or the wall. There's a kind of trauma to that tooth. And then there is a cut off of the blood supply. I explained to you the other time. The tooth is living and you have blood and blood vessels and them. So the blood supply to that tooth has been cut off. And when the blood supply to a living thing has been cut off, what will happen? This thing will die. So saying this, that tooth is dead. It's dead. However, we can treat it. So if you have this kind of thing in your mouth, we can treat it. It can be whiter. You can treat it. Next slide. So you don't have to carry this all about. Again, fractured teeth, broken tooth. Some can be minimal, but if it's getting extensive, it can be built. You can build it up. We have treatment for all this kind of thing. Next slide. Next slide, please. Media. Okay. And of course, just in case you've lost one or two teeth, you can get replacement options. There are replacement options available. Yes, we have the plastic type. But that's not the only type. There are other permanent. For the plastic type, I'm sure you must have